Could we see a Marvel world in Kingdom Hearts 4? Back before Kingdom Hearts 3 even released, there was an interview with Brian Intihar, which was at the time the creative director for Insomniac, which makes the Spider-Man games, and he talked about how he wanted Kingdom Hearts to include Marvel worlds. And when you have a creative director that literally Insomniac is making honestly the best Spider-Man games of all time in my opinion, saying that he would like to see Kingdom Hearts have Marvel worlds, that's saying something. Now with that being said, anytime that I see anything bringing up Marvel worlds and Kingdom Hearts, I actually see a lot of people saying it couldn't work or even that they don't want to see it, which obviously is entitled to your opinion about not wanting to see it, but the fact of it couldn't work, I couldn't disagree more. If there's one thing that I think Kingdom Hearts has a lot in common with of a different thing, it would honestly be like a Marvel comic. Just with the messages that it sends. Not saying that the plot of Kingdom Hearts is like a Marvel comic, even though there's some Marvel comics that the story's out there, but I do think just some of the messages that it sends of just anyone can be a hero. I mean, you're almost preaching that in Kingdom Hearts in a different way. Like, my friends are my power. It's preaching good messages, and I mean, it's just, it would work for Marvel. But rather than just saying it would work, let's talk about it a little bit. Which I do want to clarify, we've actually had a Marvel world before. The first one is technically Big Hero 6, San Francisco. Technically, Big Hero 6 is published by Marvel, so we have had a Marvel world at like right now at the time, so it's not out of the question to include another one. But let's first talk about the style of the world. How can we see the world fit in a Kingdom Hearts? We've seen Sora, Donald, and Goofy be transformed into all different styles, from old Disney cartoons to Pixar movies to real life looking Pirates of the Caribbean movie style, which all looks great. And even right now with Kingdom Hearts 4 Quadratum being the probably, in my opinion, the most realist kind of unique style that it's had in a long while. Not saying like it looks real life graphically, but in terms of like kind of where they're at in the world, this is probably the most real life it can be. But as a style for the Marvel world, I wouldn't mind if they decided to do something along the lines of this. So I don't know if you guys have ever played Ultimate Spider-Man, which was back I think on the PS2. I remember playing that so much, but what was cool about it is it was one of the games where it literally looked like they brought a comic book to life. Not saying like a comic book being brought to life in an animated, cartoon or something like that, but a comic book literally brought to life where the cutscenes were like going page to page and stuff. And I mean, there was literally a cutscene where I don't remember who got punched, but someone got punched and literally flew through pages. And it was cool. It was a unique style. And I mean, even the world itself, when you're flying through the air, swinging, web to web, it would have the little text. And even like with your punches and stuff, and it would be cool. And I would actually love if Kingdom Hearts would have this style. Because just picture this. You're going through the gummy ship. You're choosing to go to this world. If they keep it like Kingdom Hearts 3, that means you're probably just going to, open world. But you'll end up flying through. You'll see this. And you're seeing, instead of the kind of look where you're seeing the entire world and you're like, okay, I know where I'm at, or just like you're seeing what the world's gonna hold from the outside, you come up to this and it's almost like how it was with 100 Acre Woods. You're just seeing a comic book flying through the space, which already one would get me excited because I'm like, oh my god, we're going to Marvel. And then you're looking, you're trying to figure out, okay, what comic are we going to? But honestly, like, you go to it and then maybe they have the front cover blurred out a little bit, so you really can't even tell where you're going. But then you click depart, and then all of a sudden the pages will flip and you'll stop on a page, and then that's how you get into the world and you spawn. Now the next hard part, where do you spawn and what kind of Marvel characters do you include? Now when making a Marvel world in Kingdom Hearts, you have to think of it two ways. One, you want to include the fans of Marvel and keep them excited, but you also want to appeal to maybe the fans that aren't too much of a fan of Marvel. However, they would know what these characters are. So obviously when you think about it, this wouldn't be the case way back then, but nowadays, Iron Man is now probably that front runner of, okay, everyone knows who Iron Man is. Robert Downey Jr. literally put Iron Man kind of on the map in terms of like the mainstream. Because of the fact that, I mean, honestly, hot take in my opinion, but I don't really think Iron Man was that great. I think he was like a C tier character up until RDJ portrayed him. And then the MCU kind of blew him up. But I feel like Iron Man would be the safest choice. Now, picture this. Now, I don't feel like they would spawn you directly here, but I'm just going to say it just for the ease, like, of just trying to figure this out. You spawn in front of a tower, and you know, Sora's looking around. Maybe they could do a first person view, but nah, I wouldn't do that. But he's looking around and then he looks up and he sees, oh, it's the Avengers Tower. Now obviously Sora's not gonna know what's going on, but if one thing's for certain, Iron Man or any of the Avengers, even Nick Fury, would see this random kid with a dog walking and a duck and immediately, all right, I'm intrigued, let's see what's going on. Not that it'd be the craziest thing they ever seen, but they have to check that out. So Iron Man or Nick Fury, this could work with both characters, but they come up to you and they're wondering who you are, where you came from. Obviously Sora's gonna say, well, I'm Sora, this is Donald, and that's Goofy. You know, the same old that breaks the ice. But now he's probably gonna ask Iron Man or even Nick Fury, like, well, who are you? And if Tony Stark is in a suit, then he's probably even gonna bring up, like, that's a really cool suit. But then I can see Iron Man bringing up the fact that he's a part of the Avengers. And then we have our end of the kind of plot for this world. But like how in Olympus, they wanted to become real heroes. Well, in this one, Sora and the gang might want to join the Avengers, which would be a funny side plot. Because then you would have the comedy of whoever they would decide to voice Tony Stark. Because Tony Stark is a funny guy, even in the comics. He's not a serious guy, he's pretty funny. He has that laid back, carefree attitude, but also he's selfish too, so they have to keep that. But he'd probably be like, well, we're not looking for applicants at the moment. You know, something just kind of, it's going to be a funny world in my opinion, because that's just how Marvel is. They like to keep you entertained. But Iron Man will probably question his strength, and also probably question why on earth there's a talking dog and a talking duck. And then he might bring up, well, that's not the first talking duck I've ever seen, which would be a reference to Howard. But they can do this talk and then, you know, it goes on and on. But then obviously you got to introduce the Heartless. Now this is where I think the world could really become really awesome. Because what you can decide to do with the Heartless, unversed nobodies, like the way you can design them is literally endless in a Marvel world. You can make them look like damn near anything. Whether you want them to take the look, or at least an inspired look and moveset of villains in Marvel's history, or you can even inspire them to just kind of fit certain heroes of just kind of like references, but they would be your enemies still, but just in heroes of Marvel. For instance, you could have not a Dusk per se, but you could have a nobody and like kind of like a Dusk, but be like a Reed Richards style where, I mean, got some stretchy arms, and I could see a nobody having elastic arms and it'd work. But you could do this with so many different enemy types. Out of all the worlds in Kingdom Hearts, I honestly think a Marvel world could include probably the coolest looking characters that you could possibly have. Like, there's just no doubt. Now the hardest part where my creative brain just kind of isn't there, but just trying to think of an overarching plot of including the story of Kingdom Hearts into a Marvel world. Not to say it'd be difficult, because Kingdom Hearts has a crazy story, and I mean, even Organization 13, if they were to decide to still go on with them, you could include, and I don't think they would, I think we're officially done with at least that. But you could have included them in Marvel, and they would have just kind of looked and been like, are you guys like sorcerers or something? And I mean, it would have fit. You can literally add anything to a Marvel world and it'd fit. But this is the reason why I'm not creating the story of Kingdom Hearts, or really the story of anything, because I don't really know what the main plot line could be for a Marvel world. I just know kind of the side plots, because I really think it'd be fun to just have Sora, Donald, and Goofy want to become part of the Avengers. I mean, obviously that's kind of like a Spider-Man thing. He's done that. I mean, literally tried to do that in the MCU. That was his little side plot. And you could kind of give that to Sora and it would work. But leave some comments down below of, you know, a story that you would think would be a good plot line for a Kingdom Hearts Marvel world. If I had to take a crack at it though, Master somehow pulled some strings, or Lucio, depending, because we don't even know with the foretellers and all that. Like, there's just so much going on. But let's just say Masters pulled some strings, and all of a sudden you got this whole just outbreak of Heartless just everywhere in New York City. Because obviously they got to keep it contained. We're not going to have just the entire universe of Marvel. It got to be contained to make it make sense, to where it's not just overwhelming. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you, I already am lost. I don't know what else I would include other than just Heartless being in that world, or unversed, or just something like that. But you help Tony Stark or Nick Fury or whoever else they decide to include in this world, because I don't think it'd be a crazy amount of characters. I think we'd get 2 tops and that's it. I don't think they would just throw the entire Avengers at us, because that'd be pretty crazy, honestly. I mean, it'd be cool, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they'd do that. But you would at least have one in your party. I would say Iron Man would honestly be the perfect one. Now the question is, would they include like an Iron Man villain, or would they include just the villain of the Avengers, perhaps maybe an Ultron, maybe someone from one of the Avengers comics? Because again, you'd have to keep it kind of known, because you have to appeal to different audiences. You have to want to appeal to the Marvel fans, but you also have to appeal to the people that, you know, maybe don't know Marvel as much. So you'd have to include a villain that everyone knows. It'd be a tough task to include Marvel in it, but I still think it'd work. Like, I have it worked out about 80% of the way. It's just that last 20% of actually figuring out how to include like the main plot of Kingdom Hearts into the world. But there's plenty of creative people probably in this comment section right now that can answer my questions. But like I said, just let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts on all of this. And do you think Marvel Worlds could work? If so, how? And it doesn't even have to be Iron Man. It could be anything, any comic. And honestly, if like I said, if you wanted to include Spider-Man, and if they could somehow jump the hurdles for that, that'd be awesome. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and you guys know the drill. I will see you guys later.